Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse first off-season live stream with Quis of Sports Vibes TV. And my name is George. Welcome. If you've never been here before, please subscribe and hit that thumbs up button for us. And definitely drop your comments. Love the comments. So is a big star trade a good idea for the New York Knicks this offseason? So I put up these two tweets. The first one is highlighting how bad the Knicks have been in the past 20 years. We have the worst win percentage in the NBA over the last 20 years. 40.1. Timberwolves, they're in the playoffs. Hornets, they got into the play-in. Wizards, Kings, So this is our company. Yeah. I think if the right star trade presented itself, in my opinion, you have to seriously look at it and try to make it work without completely gutting your team. I don't want that Melo situation. Repeated again. However, I am not afraid of looking at a disgruntled star or whatever situation develops. If they make themselves available and we can swing a trade as a 2-team trade, a 3-team trade, a 4-team trade, however we can do it. And if it can involve a Julius Randle, get him out. If we can pull off a trade that kills as many birds with one stone as possible with one trade, I am so down for it. And NBA Trade Report too. I haven't really been able to verify this account, but they put out very clean tweets. It's never been anything that crazy, but he says sources, Knicks open to trading Julius Randle along with this year's first round pick for something, quote, significant.
Well, I mean, you have to kind of look at their credibility when they're saying we're going to trade a depressed asset and the 11th overall pick for something significant. How significant of a return are we going to get? Honestly, but I'm open for it. If we can move Julius Randle, move the 11th pick in what most would say is a weak draft, and get a player that can fit with this young core and also be a contributor out there on the court, then I'm all for it, because now you're going to get rid of Julius Randle's contract, and I would hope you're going to get a player in return that's as good as someone that we would have picked with the 11th overall pick, if not better. So I'd be open to that type of deal.
Boom. Same. I mean, you're more hesitant than I am, but we're both in favor of looking at it if it's the right fit. All right, well, let's go to boom. This is the guy who fits in with our young core. This is the kind of guy. Doesn't have to be him, but this is like an example of what I'm talking about for adding a big star, a big name to this particular type of young core. Unfortunately, it would cost us some of the young assets that we have. It would. I just threw these trade ideas up. I'm not in favor of them. I'm just saying, and I don't even think any of from Nick Zone, which shout out to Nick Zone for putting this out. Would you do this trade? Jazz get Julius Randle, Evan Fournier, Quentin Grimes, the 2022 first round pick and the 2024 first round pick. And the Knicks get Donovan Mitchell and Royce O'Neal. I think, yeah, I would do that. I don't think the Jazz would.
Right? You free up Julius Randle's contract, Evan Fournier's contract, and all that's really costing you is Quentin Grimes.
Yeah.
I mean, you're giving up some first round picks too. But,
you're giving up two first rounds.
Yeah, but 2022, that's this year. We're looking at the 11th overall pick. You can live with it. It's a weak draft. And in 2024, you would hope with Donovan Mitchell, RJ, you're keeping Cam, you're keeping Quick. You still have Mitch, you would assume. With all those players put together, you would assume by 2024 we'd figure it out. And that would be a pick that's not in the lottery. So, again, you'd live with it a day of the week.
The only way I can see that trade happening from the Jazz's viewpoint is if we get lucky and we jump up into the top 4 and we get, let's say we get the 4th pick. We did improve our chances by 2.5% by finishing 11th from when we were in 12th position. If that first round pick this season turns into the number 4 pick, number 3 pick, packaged with a Randle, we may not even have to put Grimes in there. I'm not sure. I could see the Jazz. I could see them being interested in that situation. They can look at themselves and say, you know what, we can get a Jaden Ivey who can kind of give us what we, what Donovan's given us. Of course, there's no guarantee, but he seems to trend in that direction. And then we get, this power forward that we need. We get that outside shooting that they love in Utah, and they get the defense from Grimes. So in that respect, it's possible. The other trade is this is from NBA Analysis Network, which they're always fun for like the crazy fantasy type trades.
Oh, I didn't even get into the second trade.
Yeah.
I was so focused on getting Fournier out of here. Did we get Fournier out of here? The other one? I'll see. We don't get Fournier out of here.
No. I'll read this. You're not going to like this one. The Knicks receive Donovan Mitchell, Royce O'Neal, and Juancho, and the Jazz receive Julius Randle, Cam Reddish, Derrick Rose, Quentin Grimes, and draft capital.
Yeah, no, I don't want. Not that I don't want Donovan Mitchell. It's just I don't want to give up.
You think is that too much?
First of all, they don't specify how much draft capital, but now we're giving up Grimes and Cam. I mean, I just might do the deal for the fact that we can pay Donovan Mitchell without having to give up RJ. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gun to my head, I might do it just
look, guys,
just for that.
This is the reality of what's going to happen. It's going to hurt to acquire a top 20 guy. And Donovan is so young, he could end up being a top 10 guy in this league. I mean, he's that kind of player. He's so dynamic. The trade is going to have to hurt a little for us. We're going to need that KY, because there's no way that you're going to acquire a guy like this and it'd be totally that we're all going to be chill with this with a trade. So Lex is like, no to the second trade. Hey, look, that's and you might be right, but at some point, for us to significantly upgrade this roster, unless one of our guys pops, unless RJ pops and becomes an all-star, and same with IQ or Reddish or Obi or one of those guys get into that conversation, we're going to have to trade for one.
And Juancho's, we had his brother previously.
Yeah,
right?
we had his brother. Yeah. Right. Royce O'Neal. No, he's a player. He'd be a nice piece. And we can also then spin him around and trade him for something else if we needed to. But he's a nice asset to acquire. May 4th says, I would add quickly instead of Grimes in that trade in a heartbeat.
I don't know. With Grimes and the knee issues, I might be more interested in including Grimes in the deal.
Yeah, but I'll have to wait and see on what we hear about the knee.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, they both would be painful for me to give up. I love both those guys, but that's just the reality of the NBA. We're going to have to do it at some point. And it does seem like Leon is ready to do it. Whether he gets desperate and makes the wrong move, we shall see.
Honestly, I don't think this is the off season for us to kind of make that splash. If a star becomes available and our hands are forced and we have to make a move in order to get the guy that we really want, then I'd be open to it. But I don't think we should be going too crazy right now to try and bring in that elite talent, at least not this off season. We should continue to try and cultivate what we have here on this roster. And then maybe next trade deadline, we might be in a little bit of a better position negotiation-wise to make big moves and things like that. And we'd have...
you mean in season?
In season.
Next season? Yeah.
Either in season next season or next off season. We'd have a larger sample size of what these guys can do, what these young players can do in extended minutes. That way we can evaluate trades a little bit better. This off season, I really want to see how this young core can play when they're the focal point of this team as opposed to the vets, because the young guys have played well over the last 2 years of Tom Thibodeau's tenure, but they have not been the focal point of this team. I want to see how they perform when this team is investing all our assets into building them up. So let's see what kind of returns we get next season before we decide to make any crazy moves trying to bring in disgruntled superstars.
I'm not sure about that, May 4th. I think these guys are too smart. They want to win. I think they would figure it out. It's definitely something they'd have to work out. It's not like an automatic, but I think they would figure it out. Lex had a good one here. What if the Jazz take a first round exit? Spider becomes disgruntled. Well, we need Luka to play for that to happen.
Facts.
We need Luka to play. But that's interesting. But the interesting thing here is we do need Luka to play to get them out in the first round. But if the Jazz get past the Mavs because Luka wasn't able to play and they get embarrassed in the second round, I think Spiders might still be in the same mentality. They'll be like, hey, the only reason we got through the first round is because their best player, their all NBA guy, couldn't play. And so I don't think it's like if they get into the second round, no matter what, that for sure Spider's still going to want to stay in Utah. That's kind of what I was trying to say. I don't know. I muddled that.
Imagine behind the scenes, we got a race as to which young star can force their way to New York first. We've got a disgruntled Zion in New Orleans, and then we've got Donovan Mitchell. Imagine both of the requests to trade and put Knicks.
Maybe we do have that info. Well, you and I already did the Zion for Julius trade, but Zion is
but
still...
there's also some more news when it comes to Zion as well.
I almost put Zion in here. I almost put Zion in here again. Hey, look, people are all like, "Oh, Zion's not going to want to get traded from. He's not going to want to get traded from New Orleans. Look at them; they're into the playoffs and all this stuff." It's like they had a worse record than the Knicks. If the Knicks played in the West, we would be the Pelicans. So they're not a better team than the Knicks. They got CJ McCollum now, which is great for them. But
they got
Ingram. They got Ingram. So we got RJ. You give us.
Don't say that. George, don't say it like that. Like Ingram and RJ on the same level.
I'll take it.
RJ can get there, but I wouldn't say they got Ingram and we got RJ and call it like
I already made the statistical comparison. RJ in his third season did much better than Ingram did in his.
But we're not comparing RJ in his third season to Ingram in his third season. I'm comparing Ingram 2022 to RJ 2022. Not a wash.
But the future matters. Are you ever going to win a chip with Brandon Ingram?
Remains to be seen. Exactly. I think he could be a piece on the championship team.
That we
can
he
be
say,
number one?
But we can say that about RJ too. Remains to be seen. He could be a piece. I'm just saying they're not that much better team. Like the argument that they've gotten deeper into the playoffs and all this stuff is going to convince Zion to stay. It's the same shit. If they wouldn't even make the playoffs, it'd be us if they were in the East. The West.
And I think Zion wanting out would have to do more so with the location as opposed to his teammates out there anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't have a big problem with the teammates.
Yeah, anybody trying to force their way to the Knicks aren't forcing their way because we have a Goliath on our team, but we are a juggernaut or anything like that. It's because they want to come play in New York and they want to help build a championship team. Because right now, if you're coming to New York, you're not automatically turning us into a championship overnight like it's a Cinderella story.
Yeah.
That's something they have to be prepared for as well.
Yes. D977 says we're not winning with Spider and RJ. If you mean the chip, the whole thing, probably not. Probably not. We would need another piece. But think about that. If you are Karl Anthony Towns 3 seasons from now,
after Tibbs is fired,
after Tibbs is gone, and the Knicks got Spider and RJ, and we've been kind of in the running, gotten into second rounds, playoffs here and there, and your cat, you'd be like, I'm gonna go play with those guys. We can win it all. That's the idea behind it. You're right. Them alone aren't going to do it, but they can attract other pieces. All righty. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you around the Knicks-Verse.